What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another edition of the Breakdown Sportscast. I'm your good friend and host, Kory Willis. I hope everyone is doing well on a Friday, getting ready for a great week 8 of the college football season. So, I hope everyone is, wrapping up their work week and getting ready for a lot of great college football your way this weekend. So yeah. As always, we appreciate you guys listening into the show. Guys, we're on many different streaming platforms out there, such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Amazon Music, and Amazon Audible, iHeartRadio, and many other streaming platforms out there. So, if you like the show, please like, comment, and subscribe. It helps us know what we're doing and how we can improve the show for the future for you all. So, as always, we very much appreciate you guys' support. As always, you know who I'm with. I'm with my good friend and co-host. He is Chris Bolton. Chris, what's going on, my brother?
What's going on, Kory? I'm feeling good. Another great weekend of college football is upon us, and I think we're going to have some outcomes that they never disappoint. It's going to be some games, some matchups, and some wins that might surprise some people, the average college football fan. I think this is going to be another wild, wacky weekend we have in store.
Yeah, man. I think it's going to be just another great weekend of college football. A lot of games that a lot of people may not be talking about out there. Could potentially be some great games as well. On top of some of the big marquee matchups that we're going to discuss on today's show.
There's a few teams on upset alert this week.
Yeah. Sound the horn.
Yeah, sound the horn. Texas A&M, if you're listening, don't come in pity patting and half stepping into Davis Wade Stadium this weekend. States had their number for some years now when it comes to some matchups where it looks like A&M's going to beat them, and they come into Davis Wade and they leave with the tail tucked in the head down low. You know what I'm saying? So that's one of the games that's really interesting. But plenty we're going to discuss today.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, my friend. Absolutely right. So yeah, man. Big week ahead. I guess we can start on our top 25. So far in the season, Chris, we're midway into the college football season, and this list, our list of top 25 teams so far in the world of college football. We got. I'd say we got a pretty accurate in terms of what a lot of these teams stand at so far in the season. So you want to go ahead and get down to it?
Let's do it. Yes, sir.
All right. Yeah. So
all right.
Yes, sir.
At the top spot, number 1, Texas Longhorns, of course.
Right.
They've been dominant all season long. They deserve that top spot. Number 2, Oregon, especially coming off the win over Ohio State. A narrow victory, but still, when you beat Ohio State and the team stacked and loaded like them, even though it was a home game, still a big win, a win that Oregon needed, and they proved that they can play with the best. So I feel like Oregon deserves that 2 spot. 3 spot, Ohio State. Again, that game was just an awesome game, and you really can't knock Ohio State for losing. You put up a great effort on the road, and this is a team that can go player for player with anybody in the country. So I feel like Ohio State deserves that 3 spot. 4, Georgia, despite the loss at Alabama. This is a flawed Georgia team, and I think, Kory, this is where there is a real tier break in our ranking. Mm-hmm. Yes, Georgia is ranked number 4, but I feel like those top three teams are in a tier of their own, and Georgia has an opportunity to make their way into that tier in the game we're going to discuss that takes place this weekend as they take on number one Texas. But from what we've seen so far, I feel like Texas is in a class above Georgia. And so this is where there's a little bit of a dip between some of the teams in our rankings, but Georgia gets that 4th spot. And Miami comes in at the 5 spot. The highs have been high for Miami, but they also have been playing with their food. You know, they haven't just been putting the WWE SmackDown on teams that they should have week in and week out. But I still feel like they're the 5th best team in the country.
Yes, food gets a little cold from time to time. Eat your peas, eat your greens. Why you got that broccoli just sitting over there?
Yeah. Now I gotta put it back in the microwave to heat it back up. But yeah, what your thoughts, Kory?
I mean, no, I think you are absolutely spot on, Chris. We've kind of talked about a lot of these teams, all season so far, and trying to figure out which class of teams are pretty much in a league of their own. And I think the top 3 right now, with what we have on our top 25, is spot on. I think Oregon, Ohio State, Texas, I mean, a lot of these teams, all 3 of those teams are teams that I think by time for the CFP committee to, make their top 4, I think they're a part of that top 4. And I guess, at that point, we're trying to figure out who is that 4th spot to get that bye. I definitely am with you on that one. I think Georgia is kind of like on the outside looking in right now. We'll see what happens this week as they take on the Longhorns, and we'll talk about that game in a little bit.
Yep, and to keep the list moving, keep it going along. Number 6 might surprise some people. This isn't the AP's top 25. This is the Breakdown Sportscast top 25, and coming in at 6, the Clemson Tigers. Dabo Swinney. He's got these boys rolling. They have been consistently handing out ass whoopings. They've been really, since they got one to start the season, they've been dishing them out, Kory.
They dished them out like golden tickets at the Willy Wonka factory, man.
They are a group that's really locked in. I'm very impressed from what I've seen by them, so much so that I have them right there next to Miami. We got them right there in the mix. It's not a huge gap like it seemed like it was at the beginning of the season between them two.
You're absolutely right. I mean, they are they're definitely showcasing why they could be one of those fringe number 4 teams that could, look like they're peaking right now at the right time and could potentially, get in that 4th spot. So I think we're trying to figure out who is the 4th best team, honestly, right now. I mean, it's one thing about the 12-team playoff. I think that will, figure itself out as we keep playing these games. But, to make it fun, who is the 4th best team? Right. just like the years before the 12-team playoff. Who gets that number 4 spot?
Exactly. So we will see. And then at number 7, this is going to surprise a lot of people, the BYU Cougars. They are a team not full of talent. They're not going to pop out on the screen like, oh my goodness, look at all the speed they have. But as well coached of a team as there is in the nation, one of the more underrated environments to play at in the nation. That place gets rowdy. It is not easy to win there, and they are a coach's team. Like, you talk to guys who are football coaches that love the game and understand the X's and O's. That's the kind of team they love seeing play. Mm-hmm. And they execute very well and will punish you for making mistakes. and force you to make mistakes with how well they execute on both sides of the ball. So love what I'm seeing from the Cougs. Number 8, another Big 12 team, Iowa State, another team having a great season. Undefeated so far, not flashy, but they win. They play tough football. They have veterans. They got playmakers. They've hit the portal well and got some good guys in. Got some dynamic threat on the outside, Jaden Higgins at wide receiver. So Rocco Beck at quarterback. This is a really good team. I think they have shown and proven themselves to be one of the top teams in the nation so far this season. Number 9, a surprise team. I feel like not many people might have it seated like this, but number 9, Texas A&M. The Aggies firing on all cylinders. Connor Wegman looking the best he's looked as an Aggie in his career so far. Off that game against Missouri, he looks like he's taking a step up. And if he is the way he played against Missouri, if that is who Connor Wegman is, look out. A&M really is a threat to make the playoff if this is the real Connor Wegman. We're going to find out and see against Mississippi State, as crazy as that sounds. But that's not going to be an easy game. It's a tough environment. So we're going to see really if this A&M team is for real. But based off how they look lately and also who they have as their head coach now, because it ain't Jimbo anymore. They got a guy who's structured and organized, and Coach Elko. A&M might be for real.
Yeah. We're definitely going to see what's in store for this A&M football team. I mean, they still have that big game at the end of the season against Texas. Couple other games, on the horizon for them. So, everything is still in front of A&M. Connor Wegman's back, and like you mentioned, I mean, he came out and he was clicking on all cylinders against Missouri. I mean, he was controlling that game, along with just the defense as well. I mean, they were taking control in that ball game as well. Stopping Cook and company, that Missouri offense. But yeah, man, it's going to be interesting to see how A&M fares throughout the rest of the season. Still a lot of football left to be played, but I'm definitely interested.
Mm-hmm. For sure. And then number 10, Alabama. Yes, they do have that win against Georgia on their record. And yes, I know it sounds crazy to have Alabama at 10 and some of these other teams ranked ahead of them. But this is the Breakdown Sportscast Top 25, and based off of what we've seen, yes, the highs are high for Alabama, but the lows are low. And this team is extremely they are consistently inconsistent. And for that, I feel like they fall into that number 10 spot. And I would choose a BYU to beat Alabama if they played on a neutral site field today, personally. I just trust what I'm seeing from BYU more. It sounds crazy. It might be crazy, but this is the world we're living in 2024 college football, Kory. You have no idea what to expect from Alabama. They could very well work their way to being a top 3 team. They can very well find themselves outside the top 20 if they mess around and lose some games that some of these nail biters that have driven Tide fans crazy.
Look, there's still a lot of games left on their schedule, so we're gonna have to really see what Alabama is made of. But if you're an Alabama fan, what you've seen in the last 6 or 7 weeks, you haven't been probably too enthused.
No, you have not. They have really been letting Kalen DeBoer have it on the message boards and on social media. So at the 11th spot, quite fitting, Tennessee, a team that the start of the season we saw the offense was like, oh my goodness, this team's offense will be unstoppable, and they've gotten to the SEC part of the schedule and hit a roadblock. Things have been on halt. So this is going to be a big matchup against Alabama that we'll talk about here soon. But, based off their up and down play. Tennessee at 11, Penn State at 12. Team that has found ways to win, but they just aren't impressive, Kory. And I think they're a good team. I just don't think they're the number 4 team in the nation. From what we've seen, they might be ranked the 4th best team in the nation, but I'm just not all the way sold on Penn State. I still have my doubts about Penn State. But I will give them credit to put them at the 12th spot. 13 Notre Dame seems similar mold, similar ilk of Penn State defensive team, but Riley Leonard hasn't been that guy that we anticipated so far this season. And if he doesn't be that guy, Notre Dame isn't. I don't think Notre Dame is will be able to beat these teams that we have ranked ahead of them on a neutral site. So Notre Dame 13, Indiana 14. They're having an incredible season out there at Indiana, undefeated. Offense that puts up points, and very curious to see them go up against some of the better teams in the Big Ten, because they could prove themselves to be an even higher ranking of than 14. This is a really good team so far, and there is more to be desired. So we'll see if they can continue to pass the tests that come their way. And 15, Boise State, a team that has the best running back in the nation, your future Heisman winner this season, and a high-powered offense. And they are a team that these power conferences, power schools, they don't want to play them. Go back and watch that Oregon game. They gave Oregon everything they wanted in that game and some, and could very well beat Oregon if it's on a neutral site. So Boise on a good day can play with anybody, on this list, and they are legit.
Yeah. I mean, well, look, we rant and rave, each week it seems like, Chris, about Ashton Gianti, and him already being well above 1K rushing yards for the season. That's crazy. I mean, he is definitely up there with a Barry Sanders when he was, running the rock at Oklahoma State. So, he's definitely the guy, the life, the heartbeat of that Boise State football team.
Yes, he definitely is. And then coming in at the 16th spot, we have the Kansas State Wildcats. Team has had a good season so far, but not necessarily living up to expectations placed on them in the preseason. Want to see a little more from this team. They have the pieces. They have Avery Johnson, who is extremely talented, but can he take it up a notch? We'll see. He's still very early and young, early in his career. But he definitely has the talent to take this team up to the next level and possibly still win the Big 12 this year. So we'll see how that plays out. 17, SMU, a team that's we very well could even have possibly higher. SMU they're the real deal. Their only loss this season is to a BYU. You know what I'm saying? Like this is an SMU team that's legit and is trying to make some noise and that's trying to win the ACC. So don't sleep on the Mustangs. The Pony Express is back. SMU is for real. Fresh off the win against Louisville at Louisville. They're not playing around. 18 spot, Arkansas.
Yes. Sir.
Yes. You heard us correct. Arkansas at 18. Despite their struggles, despite the loss to Oklahoma State,
gosh,
they got the huge win against Tennessee. They are for real. Arkansas has a really good offense. The defense is playing some good football as well. Arkansas is, look, it sounds crazy. I know. We know. Don't sleep on Arkansas. Arkansas can beat anybody. They can play with anybody. They have their guy at quarterback. Sam Pittman has bounced back and is pulling off miracles. Don't let us down, Sam. Keep things rolling. Keep Arkansas doing this. But if you look at their schedule and you look at our top 25, look, they lost early in the season in a game that they should have won to Oklahoma State. At Oklahoma State, though. You mess around and lose a close game to A&M. Little did we know how good these teams were and when they matched up against each other, because A&M is for real and Arkansas looks to be for real.
Yeah.
And then you couple that with the win at home against Tennessee. Hey, and then you got an opportunity to beat LSU at home. We'll see how that game plays out. So you got Arkansas at 18. And speak of the devil, they're coming in at 19, LSU. Yes.
That's how close you are, Tigers fans. That's how close you are.
Man, right there right there neck and neck with Arkansas. But LSU is a little overrated, I believe, by the APU poll. They've had their scares. You lost to USC, who's kind of played out to not necessarily be all that. And then Ole Miss gave away that game. Ole Miss lost that game more than LSU wanted. But, you get the win at home, but you haven't been impressed by LSU, even if you are an LSU fan. You're like, what the heck is going on with us this season? We're literally finding ways to win. Yeah. And at 20, shout out to our military, to Army. Army coming in at 20. Salute the troops. Yes, sir. Army they've been dynamic. Like, this team they can put up some points, Kory. Like, they ain't no joke.
They kind of remind you of like Georgia Tech in like 2014.
Yeah, for sure.
Running that triple option.
Running that crazy system, but still can go over the top and put up points at the same time. Get some deep bombs.
Yeah.
No, Army's nothing to play with, and it ain't easy playing at Army either.
No,
that's it. So it's a great year for them so far, undefeated, and they deserve to be in the top 25. What are your thoughts on that? 15 through 20 range of teams, Kory?
Oh man, I love it. Of course, you start with a Boise State at 15. A team that is riding high with Gianti. But not just with Gianti. I mean, it's still a good football team. But he is the life force of that that team, of that offense. So and they're trying to for themselves try to squeeze into the college football playoff discussion also. So with that group of 5 spot, we'll see what happens with a team like Boise State. But going on down, I mean, Arkansas, teams like Arkansas, LSU, SMU, these are also teams that are, jockeying for a position in their conferences. Especially like SMU, that's a team that's, I think, is like probably potentially like the 4th, maybe 5th best team in the ACC when you really look at things. So, I definitely love this part of the list so far.
Agreed. There's a lot can happen still. A lot of movement that can take place. And
that's why you play the games.
These teams. That's why we play the games. Yes, exactly. And wrap things off in the top 25, 21. Missouri Tigers bounce back, put a beat down on UMass like we anticipate, like you want to see from a team that's top 25, but they still need to put a beat down on a good team, and have yet to do so. Mm-hmm. So, and when you had your first real test, you got embarrassed. So for that, you got to be at 21, 22. Ole Miss team, very talented bunch, but they have not lived up to expectations at all. The loss to Kentucky at home really looks like a stain, especially after Kentucky losing at home themselves to Vanderbilt. Tough loss that was not anticipated by anyone who has been keeping up with the Rebs this season. And then you turn around and blow a game that you had in your pocket, that you really feel like you should have walked away with the win against LSU. If you're having these kind of outcomes, you're not going to be highly ranked no matter how talented you are. And they have really disappointed, I think, offensively too, Kory. All the weapons they have, but it seems like the only guy that's been utilized is Trey Harris.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, man. I mean, Trey Harris going down really, turned that offense upside down. When he's not out there, when he's not, being involved in that offense, man, that offense just tanks. It's crazy because we saw it in real time. So it's
they got guys. They got Juice Wells. Juice Wells was first team All SEC in 2022.
Yeah.
Can we get Juice Wells the ball? Like, what's going on?
It's funny we're saying that about Juice Wells when people at Ole Miss were just talking about, can we give Ulysses Bentley the ball? Why do we have so much talent that's not getting the ball?
It makes no sense. You literally have talent throughout the roster. Like, we've been so focused on Ulysses not getting the rock. Ain't nobody realized that Juice Wells ain't getting the ball either.
Yeah. Like, where are all these talents at, Lane? Like, we got all of this NIL money put in a pot to get probably, I'd say, in our lifetime so far, Chris, probably the most talented Ole Miss roster known to man. And this is what you have to offer so far this season. So I don't know. But I want to ask you this. What does a loss mean for Ole Miss this Saturday if they don't get the job done against Oklahoma?
Season's cooked. Done. Fried. Over. Souffled. Filleted.
Flambé.
Flambé. Everything. Man, it's done. Pan seared. You can put it on the platter, serve it. It's over. It's done. And the Lane Kiffin era might be done too with it. His agent's going to be getting calls. He's going to be looking to get out of town, man. If he can't win with this roster, it's time to get out of Dodge. It's time to go.
It sure feels that way. Because, man,
but it's also he has to look at himself too, because this team shouldn't be losing. This team should be performing much better. Like, Jackson Dart has made his mistakes, but like it's this all can't be on Jackson Dart.
No, it can't. It can't. Like, it's only so
Lane
much.
Got to look in the mirror too. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, you're right. It's only so much he can do. I mean, you got the man going downfield trying to get these chunk plays, every down. Like, hey, let's throw some of these passes out in the flats a little bit. Let's get these guys, moving out from side to side, just to kind of keep them honest and, sustain drives. But no, we're not doing that. We're trying to play basketball with these guys by hitting threes all day. Like we got a bunch of Steph Currys out there.
Right. It's not working. It's not working.
So
yeah,
I think you're right, man.
And then coming in at 23, we continue to support our military men. Navy, another team that's heavy on the option, will run it through you, not by you. No, Navy is running through you. It's power football. They live up to the name of Navy. So they run the football through you, up and down the field, and this team is undefeated as well. And man, that Army-Navy game is going to be insane, bananas at the end of the season. But great season by Navy so far, and they will test your discipline.
Mm-hmm.
An undisciplined defense will get embarrassed by Navy. If you don't play your assignment, you gonna turn around and you gonna look and you gonna see the fullback is 30 yards downfield. So yeah, shout out to Navy 23, number 24, Illinois, a team that is having a great season themselves. Very solid team. They don't have a lot of fancy players, not a lot of names that you're household names, but they're a gritty, tough team. And they have a good veteran quarterback, too, with Luke Altmaier, who when things get tough, you can rely on and depend on to make plays. So they have the right guy under center. Number 25, Vanderbilt Commodores. They do have a tough loss on the record that they shouldn't have, but we have seen this team. They are playing better and better every week. They are hitting their stride. You win a shootout against Alabama at home, and you win a slugfest, and you make Kentucky just look pitiful on offense. Kentucky look terrible. Shout out to Vandy's defense.
Yeah.
And you do that on the road. So you're winning in multiple ways. Clark Lee has his team really rolling. You got your guy at quarterback. Vandy deserves to be in the top 25, so they're going to be in our top 25.
Nice. I love it, man. I love it, man. This is a great, so far top 25 here on the Breakdown Sportscast. Yeah, I mean, a lot of these teams, have been playing very good football. Some of them have been playing questionable football, midway through the season. So, it's going to be interesting to see, Chris, what happens going forward, as we're winding down the coming weeks of the college football season. But I have to say, this is a great list, and I know we'll be looking at how these teams fare throughout the rest of October into November when the actual CFP ranking comes out.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So now, yeah, I think it's a good assessment so far of what we've seen this season. And we're going to get some more answers here this weekend. So let's go ahead and break down some of these matchups, because we got some teams that's right there neck and neck taking on each other this weekend, matter of fact.
You're absolutely right. We hinted at some of them. But yeah, I think we'll go ahead and start off, Chris, with probably one of the bigger games of the weekend, and that's Georgia coming to the ATX to take on the Texas Longhorns, Chris. I think this is going to be a very big game between Georgia and Texas. Look, I don't want to say that this is a get-right game for Georgia, but man, this might be a get-right game for Georgia. We're going to really see what the Bulldogs are made of against a team like Texas, Chris. And right now, Vegas has Texas as a 5-point favorite to win this ball game. And ESPN has Texas at 76.2% in their matchup analytics. So, both ESPN and Vegas are heavily looking at Texas at winning this ball game. I think if I had to put a score in, I do think Georgia is going to give Texas their best game, but I don't think it'll be enough to ultimately win. I'm going to say Texas 31, Georgia 24.
Okay. So you said Georgia 30. You said Georgia 31?
Yeah. Well, Texas 31, Georgia 24.
Okay. No, I can see that playing out. Georgia's going to come ready to play in this game. Um, they are hungry, dire thirst to get a statement win after. I'm sure Kirby Smart would tell you behind closed doors they really let that one get away. Yeah, they shouldn't have been in the hole against Alabama, but then you take the lead late and still try to find a way to lose. They let that one in their eyes get away. You can redeem that. Wash that game away with the win at Texas this week, and put to rest some questions about if you are a tier below some of these teams that we discussed already in our top 25. Nothing erases the doubt more than beating the number one team in the nation at their crib, at their home stadium. So I'm curious to see how Quinn will look against this Kirby Smart defense. He will have a great scheme in place. He looked a little rusty in Texas last game against Oklahoma. It's a rivalry game. Oklahoma has a really good defense in their own right, but you could tell it's his first game back. You don't want to tell that it's his second game back. This matchup. You want Quinn to look like the guy that we saw prior to the injury, who honestly was peaking, looking like his better self. That game he had against Michigan, great game. You want to see that guy in this one, and so I think with another week under his belt of practice, of rest, should be feeling better. And we saw Mississippi State's offense get off against Georgia. Granted, they might have been keeping some things under tuck for this matchup. They didn't want to put everything on film, but Georgia has its vulnerability in the pass secondary. They're pretty vulnerable with the secondary, susceptible to some big plays. We'll see if Isaiah Bond and company can get some of these plays, make some of these plays happen. I think Texas should win. As a Georgia fan, I don't want to say that, but at home, they've been the more consistent team this season. They should win. That's what my head is saying. My heart is telling me Georgia is ready to let Texas know, hey, you in the SEC now, for real. they want
now
you're
in the SEC.
Yeah. They want to welcome to the SEC performance and then to make a statement and get everybody kind of off their case about Georgia not being Georgia to start the season. So I have a feeling myself that Georgia will go on the road and win. I do have a feeling, but I'm going to ignore that feeling. I'm going to call it my fandom and say Texas gets a narrow victory, a field goal win over Georgia.
Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why Vegas has the line at 5 right now. They don't want to go out and say by a few touchdowns. They're saying close, but it's just a couple, maybe by a field goal or two can seal the deal for the Longhorns. But hey, we're gonna see this Saturday what both of these teams are made of. I know people have kind of talked about who's Texas played. In addition to Georgia, a lot of people are saying who they've played on top of what is the feeling like with this team. Like we haven't seen that dominating Georgia team in a while. So I think we're going to get a lot of questions get answered in this football game about both of these teams.
Yeah, I agree. I think we are going to get some answers. We're going to learn a lot from both, because for Texas, this is it's a big matchup. it's a big stage for them as well. So they really want this one. They really need this one, and nothing quiets people more than, because you got a lot of people who do want to see this team lose. There's a lot of people that want to see Texas. Yeah, they ain't really got a taste of that real SEC yet. Let's see if they're really like that. And they people are wanting to see Georgia come away with the win. So we'll see, but it's hard to go against this Texas team, man. They've even though that Michigan win isn't great, anytime you go in the big house and get a victory, that's really good on your resume, and they just have a really complete team. So it's hard to go against this squad. And then Sark has proven himself as a head coach as well. Despite, Kirby does have a couple championships, he definitely has the edge in that regard. But Sark isn't no joke either. Fresh off a CFP appearance with last year's team. So I feel like I think Texas does have what it takes to win this game, but it won't be pretty. I think it's going to be an ugly game. They're going to really have to grit this one out at home.
Yeah, I think ultimately that's what Vegas is feeling, and I'm feeling that too. I think it's going to be a grinder of a game, and with possibility of a little bit of cushion to be had. With a good opportunity in place for either team to take advantage of. But I do think both of these teams are going to grind it out. This is going to be a tough game for both teams, and it's really going to test both these teams, mental and physical stability, throughout the evening. So I can't wait to watch this game. I think it's going to be one of the premier matchups of the day that we're definitely going to be talking about for the days to come. And it's definitely going to give us a little bit of insight into who is the top dog in the SEC.
Yeah, quite fitting you say top dog, but yeah, no, I agree. For sure.
Yeah. So yeah, man. I can't wait. But anything else you want to add to this game before we move on to the next game?
I'm gonna keep it brief. That battle in the trenches between Georgia's O line and Texas D line will be key in who wins this game, because Georgia on the road, they will want to establish the running game. Texas D-line, no joke.
Yeah.
Texas D-line is no joke. They are no group that gets pushed over. So that battle will determine who wins this game, I think. Because if Georgia can get that running game going and keep Texas off the field, be able to work the play action, maybe hit some deep plays to Smith or a Bell downfield, or a Humphreys, London Humphreys, guys like that can be key in this game in opening up their entire offense. And this does start with that O-line. So I will be watching that matchup intently.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with you. It should be a fun battle for both teams.
1,000%.
Yes, sir. Well, if you don't have anything else, Chris, are you ready to move on to, I guess, we could say the next big game in the SEC this weekend? I mean, there's a lot of good games in the SEC this weekend.
Man, too many. A huge rivalry game at that. This is a game that our parents know about. This is a rivalry that the kids these days, they ain't too hip on. But if you know your college football, you know how real this one is.
Yes, hey, absolutely, Chris. Yeah, the third Saturday in October, Tennessee hosting the Alabama Crimson Tide this Saturday. This should be a fun one. Vegas has Alabama, Chris, as a 3-point favorite to win this ball game. ESPN has Bama at 53.9% in their predictor analytics. So, hey, people are still bullish on Bama, after last week's game against SC, against South Carolina. We're all, talking, on last Monday's show, Chris. We're like, the hell's going on in T-Town,
Right.
And are we ready to call the dogs? Pack it up for the season? What's going on? But Vegas is still bullish on the Crimson Tide, so hey, it's still a little bit of hope out there. If you're a betting guy out there, or if you're a Tide fan, or both.
Yeah, for sure. No, but yeah, they this is such an interesting game, Kory. I don't know what the over under is, but I think there's a chance, boy. This can be like the game we saw a couple years ago in Neyland Stadium, where both teams were running it up. Was that the Josh Downs show? I'm trying to remember. Was that who was? No, was that Jalen Hyatt?
Yes.
Yes.
You talk about 2 years ago?
2 years ago, when it seemed like every catch he was making was for a touchdown down the field.
Look, man, Hyatt, he was like, think if Gianti was a receiver. that was Hyatt.
Yes. Yeah, Hyatt was going ballistic, but I think there's a potential that this game is like that, where I know Tennessee's offense has been struggling of late, but it's not a scheme thing; it's an execution thing. And there's a team that's been proven to maybe let you execute and get some of these explosives. It's Alabama's secondary. The defense has consistently been undisciplined and inconsistent. They can make plays and they can give them up too in the same breath. So, I think this is a possible. We talked about get right for Georgia. This is a possible get right game for Tennessee's offense.
Yeah, I mean both of these teams have issues, Chris, that man they gotta figure out. Just like you said, Alabama has their issues pretty much everywhere in terms of them being consistent. But Tennessee's their issue is being consistent offensively. Like they got to get something out of Nico in terms of him being consistent out there, because he's all they have out there in terms of an athletic quarterback that can lead this offense the right way. And you want to set the tone, especially in a game like this where you have Alabama, coming to Neyland Stadium. Fans are on your side. You got to bring it.
Mm-hmm.
Can he do it? Nico definitely has the talent, has all the talent in the world to be the guy for Tennessee, and he is the guy. But just been kind of looking for that spark from him, and maybe, and we talked about it on the show, Chris. Maybe that is a byproduct of him being so young, taking the reins as QB1 for a program like Tennessee, and having those expectations on him being so big for a guy like Nico. So it's going to be interesting to see if he can rise to the occasion, take care of business, and really see if Josh Heupel can get Nico and company to open up this offense more, so that they can hopefully try to get ahead against a team like Alabama that, hey, they got Ryan Williams. They can strike at any moment. For all the bad we talk about this Bama team, they can strike at any moment.
No, this Bama team, like you say, the highs are high, and then they have their struggles. Tennessee will need to figure things out and put up points. I think Bama will put up points. There's going to be some lows. It's so all or nothing at times with this Bama offense, Kory. I mean, they'll turn around and score 2 touchdowns. Then for the next 4 drives, it's 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. Turnover. You're like, what the heck happened? And then after that, they go on consecutive touchdown drives. They scored again back-to-back touchdowns on these drives. It's so feast or famine with this team. But
it is.
Tennessee will need to feast when Bama is famining. You know, get the points, get the lead, get that place rocking, and really put the pressure on Jalen Milroe, because Bama has what it takes to win this game on the road. Despite everything we said about them being consistently inconsistent, there's one thing that is consistent about them, is that they are extremely talented. They're as talented as it comes on both sides of the ball. It's just a matter of, can they be that team for 40 minutes? I don't think they will, but they might be that team for 25 minutes, and it might be enough to get them to win. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's you may not play a full 60-minute game of football, but hey, if you can at least say, hey, we played a good 30 minutes of football at the right time, and ultimately won the game. I guess that's all that matters.
That's what it's been, though, for them.
That's what it's been.
They haven't given 60 minutes, but they've given you a good 30, 40, sometimes 25, 20, and it's been enough.
Yeah, it's been enough. So, I think that's I think you said it best, Chris. They are, consistently inconsistent. They're perfectly imperfect. I think that's the way we could chalk up this Alabama football team. When you see them on the field, man, they look amazing from time to time. But when you see them, at their low points, man, you're ready to turn off the television, take it from the outlet, and throw your television.
Boy, it's so interesting. I will say, as a Alabama hater over the years, because I mean, who doesn't get tired of seeing Alabama win unless you're an Alabama fan? Let's just be honest here. I find so much enjoyment in seeing this team's fan base be on pins and needles throughout the game. Like us normal college football fans. Welcome back to reality. You're down to earth now.
You now can suffer the way that Vandy fans had suffered from years ago.
Yeah, you're not getting 60 minutes of excellence anymore, okay? You're getting 60 minutes of high blood pressure. How is this team going to play in the next drive? You just don't know what you're going to get. So I am finding joy in them being on pins and needles. Personally.
Yes. Okay. I get you.
But to make a prediction real quick, I will say I'm going to go with Tennessee.
Nice.
I'm going to go with Tennessee.
All right.
I know Nico always had his struggles. I think this is the game he plays up to his talent. Going to be a shootout. Tennessee 56, Alabama 49.
Okay.
I think it's going to be some points put on the board, boy. They're going to get tired of putting up some points.
Can you see that guy up in the press box that he has the device? He's just putting in the numbers, and he's just like, man, it's too many points, man.
You're going to be the Popeyes lady. You're going to be tired, boy. That check is going to be well earned after this one.
He gonna have that long lean over to the equipment. Oh my gosh. He's just gonna be slaving on the stat sheet.
Facts. No, for real though. Yeah, give me Tennessee. Tennessee 56-49 in what will be a fun Absolutely fun football game.
Yes, it will be. It will be. I can see it now, Chris. Goalposts and all will be taken down and thrown into the into the Knoxville River. You know, oh man. So yeah, it's yeah. I think Tennessee definitely has a shot at beating this Alabama team. If they can play a game that's much cleaner and much more consistent than what South Carolina was trying to do, stopping a guy like Ryan Williams, limiting a guy like Jam Miller, to not get those big chunk plays out there. I think Tennessee can do something. So I'm leaning towards Tennessee beating Alabama as well.
Yeah, I mean it's a quick little nugget. That's something that's been underrated too. Is Bama hasn't been running the ball like they normally do. No. And Tennessee has a really good run defense. So if they can make Alabama one dimensional and make their running game become Jalen Milroe scrambles, that could be feast or famine for Bama. That could be tough. Tennessee has the athletes to contain them. So we'll see.
Yeah, no, you're right, man. You're absolutely right. I think this Tennessee team has a lot to prove. So is Alabama, but Alabama's not playing in T-Town. I think it would be a little bit different if they were playing this game in Tuscaloosa. But I think this Tennessee team, has a lot of questions that need to be answered. It's a good thing they're at home. So I'm looking for them to, figure it out in this game. And maybe they need a big game like this to figure it out. maybe some of the games that maybe they look at as, a little bit of a lull, caught up to them in the end. A game like Arkansas, who they probably thought that they were much better than, and they ended up creeping up to them, and they lost that ball game. But a game like this, you really want to rise to the occasion. So I'm looking for Tennessee to win this ball game. I'm going to say, Tennessee 48, Alabama 35.
All right, should be a good one. I think the Tennessee fans will be ecstatic if it's 48-35 with a little more wiggle room and then a 56-49 track meet.
I agree with you. I agree with you. Yeah, if you're in a track meet with Ryan Williams, and look, if Tennessee becomes in a situation when they're in a track meet, it's because of Ryan Williams. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. Just get ready.
And Ryan Williams will definitely have a couple tutties if that's the case.
Yeah. He even knows. He's probably already chalking it up. He's just telling the stat guys in Tuscaloosa right now, hey, put 3 touchdowns on the stat sheet. But you haven't played. Look, man, just put 3 touchdowns on the stat sheet. He just walks off.
Boy. Yep. Nah, it's gonna be fun.
Yes, sir. It is. But yeah, Chris. Anything else you want to add to this game before we move on?
No, sir. I'm ready to dive into the next game. We got next topic.
Yes, sir. So, still in the SEC, folks. Like I said, this is a big week in the Southeastern Conference, Chris. A lot of big games this week. We have Arkansas, the Razorbacks, hosting number 8 LSU. The Tigers are coming to town in Fayetteville, Chris. Should be a big matchup. We're finding out now that, Arkansas is a for real football team. A lot of people didn't think about that, earlier in the season. They were thinking about ways to, get Sam Pittman up out of there. Probably a lot of Arkansas fans. I know we're also thinking about that as well. So, yeah, Arkansas 4-2, LSU 5-1. Arkansas trying to make a name for themselves in the SEC race, and right now, LSU is a 2.5 point favorite, Chris, to win this ball game by Vegas, and ESPN has LSU as a 54.1% winner in the matchup predictor. So, yeah, right now, all signs look to be LSU and winning the ball game, but that's why we play the games. What are your thoughts about this game, Chris? Because this is a toss up, and I think a lot of people around the country have also been talking about this game being a toss up as well.
It is. It's boy, it's LSU Arkansas. Boy, those games can be pretty crazy. I think
reminiscent of the game we saw last week.
yeah, for sure. Arkansas needs this one badly, and I think they are trending in a direction to where it could be very disappointing if they lose this one. I really think Arkansas has what it takes to expose a flawed LSU team.
Mm-hmm.
LSU does have a lot of talent, a lot of athletes, of course. It's LSU, but this defense can be exposed. Secondary can be taken advantage of. I think Arkansas will look to get Major Burns in positions where he has to make a play.
Mm-hmm.
And more times than not, Major Burns has been getting burned on plays. He's been an Achilles heel for this defense, for this LSU defense. I know LSU fans who are begging for Major Burns to get benched, to not play him, because he gives them headaches. But things that Ole Miss could have done and were doing in the midst of the LSU game at LSU, I think Arkansas will do at home. And Nussmeier throwing some Hail Mary balls, just some bad throws. He can't make these throws against Arkansas on the road. They will be interceptions in this game. And if he plays the way he did against Ole Miss against this Arkansas defense, this is an Arkansas defense that made Nico Diamaliava not look great. They locked them up.
Yeah.
Arkansas can mess around and not only win this game, Kory, they might win this game comfortably, which I know it sounds crazy, but they might win this bad boy by like 14, 17 points, honestly.
Wow. Yeah. Hey, there's a possibility that they could definitely do that, Chris. I mean, this Arkansas team has definitely been playing some of their best football in the last couple weeks. Or I think when we look back at the Texas A&M game, yeah, they lost that game, but they didn't get blown out in that game either. They were giving their all in that game against A&M, and then they had the Tennessee game. They were stopping Tennessee. Tennessee had no answer for Arkansas's defense. And I think what we saw in that game, they're going to keep the good times rolling and try to, confuse Garrett Nussmeier and slow down this offense and really, create some confusion for him. Put some concepts out there that maybe he's gonna have to think twice, or maybe even 3 or 4 times about to get him off of his game plan. So Brian Kelly, he has a big task, a tall task ahead of him this weekend in Fayetteville.
Yes, he does. Because the LSU faithful, yes, they're the 8th ranked team, but they have been watching these games and they don't feel like the 8th best team in the nation. So Brian Kelly gotta keep winning. because LSU fans expect more from what they have received, I believe, during the Brian Kelly tenure.
Yeah. Nah, you're absolutely right, man. And yeah, I think if you are an LSU fan, you have seen Brian Kelly the last couple of years. You're trying to take that next big leap with new guys on your campus and build on to what you've established at LSU. In order to do that, you can't lose games like this. You just beat Ole Miss, a good team that had came into Tiger Stadium, stalled a lot, and you squeaked out of that game with a victory. You want to keep your foot on the gas pedal as well against a team like Arkansas that potentially could be peaking in the right direction. So I think this game has a lot more questions than answers right now. Heading into Saturday, Chris.
No, you're right for sure. We're going to get our answers for both teams. Is Arkansas fool's gold? Like, have they really turned the corner, or is LSU the one that's fool's gold? And so I mean, we're going to find out a lot on Saturday.
Yeah, and I can't wait. I think this game very much reminisces the game last week between LSU and Ole Miss. I think that game had a lot of questions more than answers, and watching the game, it was showcasing to us in real time.
Watching that game, I still have the same answers about LSU that I had last week. Ole Miss didn't do anything to change that. We left that game looking like, man, both of these teams they got to figure some stuff out. Yeah. I mean, they are so out of sorts that even though the LSU won, it didn't change your opinion of them. We just walked away looking at Ole Miss like, man, y'all really are out of whack because y'all found a way to lose this game.
Yeah. It's weird. It's definitely weird, but yeah, man, it's going to be interesting to see what both of these teams can do, and I'm excited to see what happens come Saturday.
Yep. What's your prediction?
I'm looking at.
I got mine.
I'm looking at Arkansas 24, LSU 17.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. So this is a split Jefferson Pilot special right here. We keeping it 24-17, keeping it a little low scoring.
Why not?
Hey, I guess I'm a modern man then. I got it Arkansas 38, LSU 24. Okay. I think Arkansas wins comfortably.
Oh, okay. Hey, look, we'll definitely see what happens in this ball game. Will I be placing
a bet on that? I'm smarter than that, Kory. I ain't putting no money on Arkansas LSU. But we don't touch that game. We don't do that. But I think they win comfortably.
Yeah.
This little Bolton's Bets preview. Arkansas will not be on our slips. We didn't touch this game.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what happens. I mean, we'll get probably we'll see, and as we're recording this on a Thursday, we'll see what happens. Maybe Taylor Green may play in this game. Maybe he won't.
He's gonna find a way to be out there.
Yeah.
That's my prediction hinges on Green playing.
Yeah. So that's will be interesting. I mean, I think about when Connor Wegman, came out for A&M to face Missouri. A lot of people didn't know how that dynamic was going to happen. Then we found that out the day of. So, the Taylor Green situation is going to be interesting heading into this ball game. So, and definitely be a deciding factor on who wins and who
Oh,
loses.
for sure. Definitely.
Because he's a dynamic football player.
1,000%.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, um, anything else you want to add to this game, Chris, before we move on to the last game?
Hey, I ain't got nothing else to say about this one. I'm just ready to watch it.
Yeah. Kick your feet up, get the popcorn out. This should be a battle, folks. If you like, defensive, physical
It'll be a
football,
movie.
yeah, yeah, it's gonna be a movie. Look, the Battle of the Golden Boot is always a movie.
Yes, 1,000%. It really is. It doesn't disappoint. And Arkansas, they need this one. We talked about the season being like 07 so much. Hey, has a chance to be if Arkansas gets the win in this one.
Yeah, no, you're right.
That was a huge win that season. When they messed around and beat LSU that year. Crazy season. So we'll see if we'll keep the vibes going if Arkansas can pull off a win against the Tigers.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Should be a fun one indeed. Well, Mr. Chris, are you all ready to go on to our last game on today's show before we move on to Bolton's bets?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Well, we are now going to Louisville, Kentucky, Chris. We're going to talk about a big game in Louisville where the Cardinals will host number 6 Miami. The Hurricanes are coming to town to take on the Cardinals. This should be a fun game. I definitely want to see what Tyler Show and company have in store for this Miami Hurricanes defense. I still feel like Louisville has a lot left in the tank to play. I mean, the season isn't just over, I should say. They still have an opportunity to do something in the ACC. They lost to a good SMU team, lost to Notre Dame, so they haven't been embarrassed. It's not like they went out and lost to North Carolina or anyone. So this should be a fun game because Miami, coming off of a bye week. We want to see what the Hurricanes have in store for the rest of this season, Chris. And right now, Vegas has Miami as a 5-point favorite to win this ball game. And in the ESPN matchup analytics, they have Miami at 55.5%. So, all signs that everyone is looking at Miami of controlling this ball game and ultimately winning it. But for me, Miami has had those potential slip ups that they miraculously figured out a way to handle a lot of these teams that have given them games. And could this be the one day where that all takes a turn? I think it could be. Tyler Show is still a very good quarterback, and I think there's still a lot left to be played at Louisville, and a lot left to be a lot more answers, a lot more questions that need to be answered in the ACC. So. What are your thoughts, Chris, about this game? Because I am leaning towards Louisville potentially making the upset over the Hurricanes.
If this game happened prior to Miami having a bye, I would be more worried about Miami. Because they should have lost a couple of games. VT, Cal, they've had some real scares. I think Miami understands how good Louisville is. And maybe it's a little reverse logic, but the fact that they had the bye week too to reset, refocus. I think that they're going to look at this as a new season, and I think Miami puts on a show. I think Miami gives us one of the better performances that we've seen since the early in the season, since Florida game. I think they'll be up to this one. They understand they're going on the road to play a good Louisville team that's been ranked this season, doesn't have a bad loss on their record. It's not going to be easy. There's this team that should give them a fight, and I think will bring out the best in Miami. I just think Miami's been bored, honestly. I'm not making an excuse for them. I just think this team has been bored, and I think they get back to it this week. Louisville can definitely pull off the upset. They have what it takes to win this game. I just have a feeling in my head and my heart that Miami turns it up a notch. And I think they really try to put the WWE smackdown on Louisville. And this should be like a statement win and let everybody know Miami's back. Like, we know we had those games earlier in the year where we almost lost, but don't worry. Like, we really are that team. I think this is the game where they do so. Okay.
Yeah, I think either or can obviously happen. I mean, like,
it's definitely wide open now. Mm-hmm. Anything can happen in this matchup.
But yeah, like, I do definitely get what you're saying, Chris, in terms of Miami getting that bye week. I think it was much needed. I do think a little bit that they are bored in the ACC right now. When they're looking around, they're probably looking at everyone, probably except i.e. Clemson, right now, just kind of bored right now. They're probably in that locker room each week. They're always talking about the ACC championship game against Clemson, potentially. So, mm-hmm. I think they're definitely looking ahead. They are bored, but I do think a time of them, taking that bye week off and kind of settling in, maybe have refreshed their minds in saying, like, hey, I think this second half of the season we got to come with it on all cylinders and protect our spot. And I think overall that's going to bring a lot of much needed motivation for this team. I think Mario Cristobal knows it. Their locker room knows it. Miami fan base knows it. So, I don't think Miami's definitely going to phone it in because of that. But I do think Louisville, knows that, this is a big game as well for them, just like it is for Miami.
Mm-hmm. They do. And you just look at when you look at what Miami can do with a quarterback that can scramble and make plays and move like Cam Ward, similar to SMU. SMU their quarterback was making plays, picking up yards, in their victory against Louisville. And so Cam Ward can do that and some. He's a guy who's been discussed for the Heisman for a reason. So I think this is a game that he can take advantage of some of the flaws that Louisville has defensively. Even though it's a good group, but they are susceptible to mobile quarterback, mm-hmm. and Cam Ward can make some plays outside of the play.
Right.
So I think that will be on display in this one, and Miami should come away with the win.
Yeah. I definitely get with what you're saying. So yeah, I think this team is still one of the best teams in the country. I think they have a heck of a defense, and I think that offense as well is really, really good with Cam Ward being at the helm at the quarterback position. So still a lot left to be played for both of these teams, but yeah, I do think that this game is going to be an interesting one in the ACC this weekend.
Well, it will. It will. For me, I'm gonna go Miami 41, Louisville 24.
Okay.
It can play out differently. It can. Louisville can mess around and get the win. I just think I still trust in Miami. Oddly enough, they giving us plenty of reason to be like, hold on now. I don't know about you. Y'all might not be the team. Y'all might be some pretenders. Still think they're a contender though. I think they are for real. I think they showed that they are for real this weekend.
Okay. I'm going Louisville 31, Miami 27.
Okay. So you think the Cards they pull off the win, they get the upset, and they finally give Miami that first L.
Yeah. I think the game is at home. The game's at Louisville. I think Louisville's going to have a game plan for this Miami team. I think Jeff Brom is a heck of a football coach, and I think he's going to have his guys be upbeat, and ready to go in this ball game. I think they know what's at stake.
All right. We will be tuned in.
Yes, sir. We will. But yeah, man. That it should be a great game. I can't wait to watch it. I think it's 11 a.m. kickoff, so should be a fun game.
Definitely will be.
Yes, sir. But anything else you want to add to this game before we move on to Bolton's bets?
No, sir. I'm ready to let's try to fatten these pockets.
Yes, sir. I like that. I like the way you said that. Our listeners definitely like making a lot of Benjamins out there. We want to make sure we put more Benjamins in their pockets. So yeah, folks. We are now at the time of Bolton's bets. You know what segment it is where our good friend and co-host Chris Bolton, he goes over some of the other big games for the weekend on top of the marquee matchups, and see if you can hit that parlay for the week. See if you can get that right betting line in order for you to make some extra cash for the week. So Chris, I will leave the floor to you, good sir. What games do you have for us this week?
Yes, sir. So we're going to go to Iowa State.
All right.
UCF at Iowa State. The Knights are reeling at the moment. KJ Jefferson hasn't been who they thought he was going to be when they brought him in. They turned to the backup quarterback, and Iowa State is rolling. Iowa State, 13.5-point favorites at home. So it's a solid number. I think they cover. I feel like they cover. I think Iowa State, they have proven themselves to handle business.
Mm-hmm.
UCF is a little dangerous, but they aren't who we thought they were. And, I feel like a good team will give UCF problems. Colorado has proven themselves to be a good team. They beat UCF at home. I think Iowa State keeps the great season going. I think the Cyclones cover.
Okay.
Keeping it in the Big 12 again. The Big 12 has been treating us very well so far this season. Baylor at Texas Tech. Man, Kory, it is kept. Texas Tech has been playing some really good football this season.
Why aren't they ranked?
I'm trying to figure that out myself. Look, the guys have been for real. Team is 5-1.
Mm-hmm.
First in the Big 12. And I think they continue on with getting the wins. They're playing Baylor. Baylor's a good team, but Baylor is also, their coach is almost, it's almost guaranteed he's going to get fired at the end of the year.
And I like Dave Miranda. I think that's a tough one. Damn.
It is. It is. He's been trying, but when it gets to this point of the season, and the writing is kind of on the wall. Texas Tech has been playing very well. They're 6.5-point favorites. Baylor has a good offense. They have a talented team, but I think Texas Tech is just they have shown that they might need to be in the top 25. They have that offense we talked about preseason, Kory.
Mm-hmm.
They can put up points. It's putting up points.
They're doing it.
I think they put up enough points to cover. They covered a 6.5-point spread, and Tech gets the dub. And this is lastly another matchup that we're going to put on the slip. Mm-hmm. We've been teasing. We've had our own conversations about this. A&M at Mississippi State. Texas A&M 18-point favorites on the road at State. Quiet as kept. Mississippi State is actually playing some really good football. And I know we have just finished singing the praises of A&M. We have them. We review them as a top 10 team in the nation. But State has played very well against 2 top 10 teams in the nation. Matter of fact, 2 top 5 teams in our eyes in the nation the last couple of weeks. And giving them very tough games.
Going through the gauntlet and coming out there unscathed.
Unscathed. And now you get Max Van Buren a chance to be at home as the starting quarterback.
Yeah.
And he's just fresh off of throwing for 300+ yards against Georgia. Hey, man. Give me those points. I ain't taking Mississippi State money line. We ain't going to get crazy with it now. We ain't going to get 2 out there. But I don't think A&M covers. A&M very well wins this game. Maybe by 3, maybe by 10, maybe by 14. I don't think it's going to be more than 18 points. I think State's going to be right there, neck and neck. This can be a to the last possession kind of game. State's been turning it up. This team, they're finding that things are clicking. Things are clicking. Normally, a really bad team, the way Mississippi State looked earlier this year, they would have gotten stomped out by Texas and Georgia. That did not happen. They did not get stomped out. They played really good games. Surprised a lot of people. We have taken notice. We're taking Mississippi State and the points.
Nice. Yeah, and the way that Levy, controls the clock, he's a clock management guy. He wants to, control the line of scrimmage as best way possible. So, hey, that definitely could play a factor into it if you're putting some money down.
Yes, very much so. So, we're gonna take the Bulldogs and the points. And our honorable mention.
Nice. I love my honorable mention.
We got one more game for you. Virginia at Clemson at noon Eastern time. Clemson 20.5-point favorites. We have talked about consistently. Clemson has been putting paws on teams.
Literally.
The Tigers have been putting paws on teams. So we're going to continue to rock with Clemson in this matchup to cover. They are legit, man. Like, Clemson is legit. Dabo is not here for none of our BS. He's sick and tired of what people have been having to say, and his team is sick and tired too. They play like they are angry as well, and so I think they're going to continue to take out their anger on the Cavaliers.
I think so too. I mean, they have been playing angry football each and every week. I watched that game that they had against Wake Forest, Chris. I'm talking about you talk about putting the paws on, boy. They were putting paws, feet. I mean, man. Everything. Yeah. No, seriously, like, people need to talk more about Clemson. Clemson is really, they are for real. They out here. They ain't been talked about enough.
So we gonna roll with the Tigers, the Clemson Tigers in this one. So
Nice.
Clemson to cover the 20.5-point spread. And that is this week's Bolton Bets.
Awesome, my friend. Yeah, man. Yeah. Everyone, if you're trying to make some money, if you're trying to make that dough for this week, definitely listen to Chris's picks this week. That way, you can come out of the week unscathed. You can have your pockets a little bit fatter.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Yeah, man. Well, this should be a very good week 8, Chris. I mean, we got a lot of great games on the slate. We're getting closer and closer to November. Things are starting to take shape now. We've been looking at AP polls for weeks now. Now we're getting closer and closer for the committee, the college football playoff committee, to look and see these teams' resumes and try to figure out who stacks up with who going forward. Right. So I'm excited. This week should be a great week, and we're definitely going to be talking about it over the weekend.
Yes, sir. We definitely are.
Yes, sir. Well, Chris, getting close to the end of today's show, everyone. We appreciate you guys listening, as always. But outro, sir. Let the good folks know where they can find you on social media.
Yes, sir. Find me on X at Chris_Bolton_12 and on Instagram at Chris.Bolton_. Holla at your boy.
All right. And you can find me on X at Listen to KSW, all one handle. I'm on there talking college football, professional wrestling. We're at the WNBA championship and we're at the MLB playoffs. So, it's a lot on the line right now in the sports world, Chris. So, yeah, be sure to find me on there.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, folks, it was a great time talking about all the games in week 8 of the college football season. We'll be back on Monday's show. Me and Chris will definitely go over a lot of these games and give out our Chiefs of the week. It should be another great one in the world of college football. So be sure to listen to us on Monday as we wrap up everything in week 8 of the college football season. But until next time, folks, I'm Kory Willis. He is Chris Bolton. You are listening to the Breakdown Sportscast. We'll see y'all guys later. Peace.
Peace.